I am Michele Mazellegh. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to share with you all this video clip and then I'm going to come back and talk about it. So let's get into it.
What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today I'm going to talk about this word FBA. Alright, because I thought this done went away, but in my comment section it's popping up. Alright, so I'm gonna make a couple things very clear about FBA. Alright, because I see a lot of people still using this term FBA and they're using it as a word that describes African Americans, right? And I got a couple people in my comment section. It usually has to do when I'm talking about Nigerians or Africans and African American relations. I get a couple people be saying some dumb stuff like, yeah, us FBA, and they'll say, and once they say that, it's followed by something real stupid and ignorant, right? And I'm like, first of all, black people in America don't call themselves FBA. 99.99% of African Americans never heard of FBA, Foundational Black Americans.
So I want to make this disclaimer before I start on my video, because we are living in a day and age where people are silencing voices all on social media. You say things that they don't agree with, you say things that they don't like, and they are attacking people on social media in order to silence their voices. And that's just crazy. That's the day and age that we're living in, that we can't have a healthy debate. You know, I think of Lean On Me with Joe Clark and his best friend, how they were going at it in the boardroom. And at the end of that disagreement, this is what his friend had to say.
Come on, let's get something to eat.
And what I learned from that scene is what healthy friendships look like and what a healthy debate looks like. And that's what some people need to go back to. Having healthy debates, being able to disagree with somebody and move forward. So with that being said, about this video, I can agree with some things that he said in this video, and I will link below so that you can see the whole video. There were some things that he was saying I didn't agree with, so that's the reason why I didn't show it. So I'm only going to focus on the video clip that I showed. He is absolutely right about FBA comments. I also get a lot of comments on my videos from people who identify themselves as FBA or Foundational Black Americans. And just like he said, I'm not going to say that their comments are stupid, or whatever he said. I can't remember what he said. I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say that their comments are unnecessary. A lot of times they insert themselves in a conversation that has nothing to do with Foundational Black Americans. A lot of what I share on my YouTube channel is really not a conversation that has anything to do with Foundational Black Americans. But every time they comment, they have to make sure they put that title in there somewhere so that I'm aware that a Foundational Black American has made a comment on a video that I've done, so that I won't forget who Foundational Black Americans are. I mean, I really don't understand why they feel the need to have to constantly insert themselves in conversations that have nothing to do with them, but they do so anyway. And a lot of times I have to respond because, like he said, the comments are a little out there. They're a little outlandish, and a lot of times they're very hateful. The rhetoric that they use and how they try to attack me is crazy. A lot of the craziest comments that I have got on my channel have been from people who identify themselves as FBA. Now, mind you, a lot of times we don't know who's behind the computer screen, but we can just assume that it's a human behind that computer screen, and they're the ones who are claiming to be FBA or identify themselves as FBA and feel the need to have to comment on every video that I do. There's one viewer. He has commented on so many different videos that I have done, and all of the things that he has said has nothing to do with the video whatsoever. He has the most disrespectful things to say to me and about me, and I'm just like, is it really that serious? And the answer to that question is no, it's not. So he's right in saying that the FBA is a new term. It was not a term that was used during slavery, during the civil rights movement. It wasn't used in the 80s. It wasn't used in the 90s. It was not used in the early 2000s. I don't remember when I first heard about Foundational Black Americans. I would say in my late 30s. I'm 42, so I would say about 37, 38 that I actually heard about foundational Black Americans. And foundational Black Americans, if you don't know, are basically Black Americans in the United States of America whose family was born and raised in the United States of America. They don't really have anybody in their family that migrated into the US of A. They were born and raised there. So that's what foundational Black American pretty much is. There's a lot of other things that ties into that, but that's basically the foundation of foundational Black Americans. So like I was saying before, Tariq Nasheed is the founder of it. Now, I was first introduced to Tariq Nasheed, and I'm not talking about like personally introduced to him. I'm talking about introduced to his work and introduced to who he was. And it was not had anything to do with FBA. There was no such thing as FBA going on when I first saw his work, which was Hidden Colors. Tariq Nasheed created, produced 3 movies entitled Hidden Colors. They're documentary movies, and these movies uncovered the hidden history of Africa. His focus is not on Africa really anymore. It is on Black people in the United States of America, also who label themselves as FBA, Foundational Black American. Now, let me tell you what my issue with FBA is, okay? I'm just going to give you a short little synopsis of my experience with both ADOS and FBA, right? ADOS is the American descendant of slavery. Kind of found out about ADOS when I was watching a panel with Killer Mike, T.I., Candace Owens. I can't think of who else was on that panel, but they were talking about issues within the Black community. And Killer Mike is the one who said something about Yvette Carnell. I looked her up, found her YouTube channel, and started following her. I followed her for a little while until she started talking about things I just didn't agree with, so I stopped following her. Shortly after that, came across Tariq Nasheed's YouTube channel, and I started following him. I was like a lot of Black people who identify themselves as foundational Black American, and I like the idea of having some type of identification. I like the idea of, you know, having pride in who I was, and all that just sounded great to me. It really did, and I can see why Black Americans in the US latch on to that. And so at first I was cool with everything he was saying on his videos, but it slowly started to change into conversations and rhetoric that gave me pause. All of a sudden, a lot of his videos started focusing on Black immigrants, and a lot of people were just saying the most hateful things about Black immigrants. Now, mind you, there were Black immigrants that were also calling in. They had their thing to say about African Americans as well. But I'm not following them. I wasn't following the Black immigrants. I was following Tariq Nasheed. So that's who my focus was on. Not on Black immigrants, because I don't really, you know, I wasn't following them. I'm not a Black immigrant. So when the rhetoric started to me become very hateful towards Black immigrants, I could not in good conscience continue to follow him, because it became very regular. It was very regular that it was a lot of things being said about what they were supposedly doing, and this and this and that, and it just seemed like it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I was just like, okay, I'm married to a Black immigrant. Mind you, my husband is a U.S. citizen, but his family did migrate to the U.S. from Ghana, and so I'm just like, yeah, I can't get down like that if every time I'm watching a video it's something hateful about Black immigrants, and there's not really a distinguishing factor as far as where there are some Black immigrants that don't act this way. I have met some Black immigrants that were really nice. I mean, it was not really a balanced conversation where people were like, well, there are some good ones out there. So it's almost like it was just a bashing of Black immigrants, and I just could no longer follow him. So I stopped identifying myself as a foundational Black American at that point. because of where I felt like it was going. And that's what this the man was saying in his video later on his video, as far as xenophobia, as far as a lot of the rhetoric now that you hear is very hateful towards Black immigrants. And it's hard, it's heavy, and it's very negative, and it's just a space that I just could not be a part of. And that's the type of rhetoric and hatefulness that I see coming on my channel when people are commenting on my videos. And what's hilarious is that they think I'm a Black immigrant, and not like there's a problem with being a Black immigrant. If I was, I would be proud to be one, but I was born and raised in the United States of America. And these people, who I would consider to be my people per se, because we are both born and raised in the United States of America and we're both Black, you would assume that they would at least be very mindful or respectful in what they're saying, but they don't care. They don't care that I'm a Black person from the United States of America. All they care about is that I'm speaking positively about the African continent, and that I am holding them accountable for the things that they're saying and the things that they're doing. A lot of the comments that I get on my channel always talk about, and this again from people that identify themselves as FBA, that I never call out Black immigrants, or that I never call out the Africans for the things that they're doing. And my response always to that is, funny that they say that, because most of the ones who identify as FBA, they don't want to be called out. They don't want Africans and Caribbeans calling them out on anything. They will tell you in a quick beat, you cannot call no African American, and you can't speak on Black issues in the United States of America. You can't tell us how to do things. You can't do this, you can't do that. But that's what they want me to do on my channel. They want me to call out the Africans. They want me to tell them what they should and should not be doing. But they don't want it to be done to them. And my response to them is this: I'm a Black American. I'm an African American. I am a Black person from the United States of America. And so I can only speak from that perspective. I can't call out Africans on anything because I don't share their experience. But I can call out my own people. That's just like in my own household. There's no way that I'm going to go to somebody else's household telling them how to run their home and telling them how to raise their children. I'm going to do that here in my own home, where these are my children. This is my family. I'm able to tell them, you know what, you're wrong. You need to do better on that. That's the same thing with Black people in the United States of America. Since I was born and raised in the United States of America and I'm Black, I have the right to speak on my people and say, you know what, we need to change how we think and change how we act in order for us to see any changes taking place. We can no longer keep blaming everybody else for the problems that is happening in our communities when we are the people that can change it. And if that means that we have to hold a mirror up to ourselves and say, this is the things that is wrong and we have to change it, then that's what we need to do. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with Black people from the US of A, from African Americans, to call other African Americans out for the things that needs to be done in order for us to move forward and to empower us. And empowering people does not mean that I have to sit here and agree with everything that you say, that I have to pat you on the back every single time. It also means letting you hear things that you don't want to hear. You can have pride without putting another race down in the process, without putting another country down in the process. You can have pride. If you want to be a foundational Black American, be a foundational Black American. But why do you have to criticize and put down other people in the process, and then be mad when they do the same thing to you? Seem like you would want to be better and say, you know what, I'm not gonna be like them. I'm not gonna do like them because I don't want it to be done to me. But a lot of times that's not the way it goes. And that's what I bring on my channel. It's not okay for anybody to down somebody else to make themselves be prideful or feel like that I have to down somebody in order for me to be proud of who I am. You don't have to do that. You can be proud to just be proud and keep it moving. And a lot of times some of the people who identify themselves as FBA are not doing that. They are trying to be proudful in the midst of attacking people, in the midst of disrespecting somebody, in the midst of spewing hateful comments. And I'm like, that doesn't say or give me proud feeling. That gives me a feeling as if you're intimidated, threatened, or something, in order for you to feel like that you have to come on my channel to give out hateful things. That doesn't sound like pride to me. That sounds like fear. Because if you are sure in who you are, you don't have to do all of that. I don't have to do all that for me to know that I'm a proud African American from the United States of America. I don't have to do all that. I don't have to do any of that. It is who I am. Period. I'm just saying. All right, so that's all I have to say on that issue. I am Mazellegh. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.